shots. So hopefully.
I love you. Hi everyone on YouTube. This is a quick video on how I built a loft bed for my son. I had the idea to build this loft bed because of his 12-volt Jeep that I actually was working on. I repaired in another video. Anyway, that same Jeep, I was struggling with finding a place to store it whenever he wasn't riding it, as well as, whenever it needs to be charged. It was taking a lot of space in the garage, and I needed to build him a bed anyway, so I thought, why not build him a bed high enough that I can store the Jeep underneath. So this is a quick video on how I did that. I didn't have the idea to video or record building the bed until I'd already started it. So some items will already be built. I will go through and show you those items as well. So you can see here where I used my makeshift table saw to bring all the pallet wood down to the width that I would like. For the most part, I'm using 3 inches for the ladder and for the bed frame itself. For the rail that's going to go on the side, the kind of safety rail to keep them from rolling off, everything there is going to be 2-inch. Right here, this is 2 1/4, just to make this whole thing 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, because these boards, I actually found these pallets where all the boards are 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm trying to use those. I'm actually pre-drilling everything. Pilot hole, pre-drilled holes. Make sure to do that in everything because this wood is actually very prone to splitting whenever you're putting screws in there. These are the rest of the boards that I'll be using. Everything in this pile right here is 2 inches. Or no, I'm sorry, 2 1/4. I did end up taking the nails out of some of these boards, mostly where I'm going to be cutting, because I didn't want to, obviously didn't want that to get cut up in my saw. This is the, I guess I'd call it like the main frame for my son's bed. These boards, actually a lot of this wood came not only from the 3/4 inch pallet wood, but it also came from the pallet wood that I previously used to build a, what do you call it, a champagne wall, which I'll probably get a picture of. The champagne wall was for our wedding. So anyway, I thought it'd be kind of cool to use that wood to build my son's bed. One thing I do want to point out is that I rounded off all the edges again because this is going into my son's room and I don't want him to get all nicked up. I finished putting I'm not even sure what it is, kind of a rafter. I just went through and I put screws here, 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 here. The width here is 2 1/4. The whole width here for the side rail is 3 inches, so that leaves 3/4 from this surface to this surface. Oh wait, excuse me, this surface to this surface. As you can see there, the plywood I'm putting in is 3/8, so that's going to leave about 3/8 above the plywood, and that's perfect because then it'll be nothing but round edge. I don't have to worry about him being close to that corner. I mean, the plywood is obviously going to have a 90-degree corner, so it's not going to be a big deal, but still, I just want him to have nice, smooth, rounded edges. So that's what he's going to have. I've added these 3 temporary legs where I made sure that it's nowhere near where I'm going to be drilling into the stud. And this is where I'm going to be putting in the ladder, right here in this corner. And this is actually the first time I'm getting a feel for how tall this bed is going to be. Again, it's going to have railing on the sides, so I'm not worried about him falling out or anything. He definitely likes to climb. So I'm going to mount the ladder right here. All of the legs are 33 inches. That's 3 inches for the frame itself, and then another 30 inches for how tall the bed is going to be off of the floor. So this does 2 things for me. One, it raises everything up and allows me to actually build everything out here. Number 2, I'll actually keep these legs on while I'm putting it in his room. That way I don't have to worry about leveling. Everything will already be level. I'll literally just have to go where I have the studs marked in the room. I'll show you a little trick for how I found the studs. All right, so here we are. I've only put 1 screw in this so far, so that way I'm able to kind of turn it and everything. I'm going to use a framer square right here just to make sure that it's actually square. And this is what I use to hold it in place. And you'll be able to see here I put a little mark at where the height is supposed to be. So that's 33 inches from the top, or 33 inches from the ground. That's 30 inches up to here, and then another 3 inches here. So that's the top right here. That is a scratch. That's not split. Just FYI. Not always. I don't always do these little small touch-ups completely. Like I don't mind seeing a screw pop out a little bit. I don't mind using pen, which is a little harder to sand off than pencil, just because it sinks into the wood just a little bit. I don't mind those things. I actually like seeing these imperfections because it reminds me that it's just little reminders later on when I'm looking back at the fact that this is all homemade, that I did this myself at home with not the best tools. I'm going to finish putting some more screws right here. For spots like this where this is more, I guess you'd call it structural weight bearing, this ladder is meant to be weight bearing because that side right there and this side will be on the walls. These sides will not. So this will act as that leg. It's a lot of fun. I just really enjoy doing this kind of stuff, especially for, wife or the kids. One thing that I learned in a framing class that I took at community college is laying out where you're going to put everything. So if you were like framing a wall, you would have your, I forget what it's called, baseboard? No, it's not baseboard. Bottom board? I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's your 2x4 that goes flat on the wall or inside the wall. Anyway, you go through and you just lay out where everything is going to go. So I'm going to have a vertical rail going here, vertical rail going here, vertical rail going here, and here, and here. And these three spaces are equal. And on my last one, somehow ended up with an extra like 3/8 of an inch, but I'm not too worried about it because whatever. Again, little imperfections, homemade. All right, and these are little vertical rails, or I guess rail supports. I need to start calling them what they are, rail supports. One there, you can see it actually lines up with my little notches there. Same thing here, lines up with my little notches or markings. One there, and one there, and one there. All right, so I rounded off the edges before I made the diagonal cuts here. The long side, I made sure that was 17 inches to match from the bottom of this board to the top of the ladder. So my very top rail is going to go vertical or horizontal this way. Then I'm going to have a second one going this way. Update number 757. So I use those lines that I made, again, the ones that I copied off of here, and I transferred them onto these rails. You'll see some of these I actually had to put 4, and then over here 4, because these boards, because I'm using them from pallets, they're only 4 feet long, and I needed a little extra. So where I cut the lengths, basically I made sure, and had to connect another short one, I made sure that it was behind one of these rail supports. I also chose how many to have, so that way it wouldn't interfere with the rafters that I already had, and I wouldn't have to worry about going into any, running into any screws that were already in there, or having to move any rafters. At this point, I have the rails up. In every single point, I have at least 2 screws. I'm no engineer or anything. I just wanted to go a little overboard to make sure that this rail does not come off. There are a couple little parts where it's split right there, even though I pre-drilled. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me in the comments what I can do better. Let's see here, but I'm confident that that will hold because I also have 2 screws here, 2 screws down at the bottom where it did not split, 2 screws here where it did not split. I also put ridiculously long screws right here, 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 and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and a bunch of these other spots. Again, because I want to make sure that it won't fall out. So I got this thing inside. Again, those little skinny, scrawny looking legs, those are just supports, temporary supports while I paint it. And again, those will help me keep it level while I'm mounting it to the wall. The 2 corners that you're seeing right there, those will be mounted to the wall, and he'll be able to get in and out from the foot of the bed. So I'm going to start painting this white. This is what I'm using, Behr Paint and Primer. They did recommend using it's just pure white. There's literally no color in it. They did recommend using primer first because it's just raw, bare wood. But since this is literally the only thing I'm using this for, rather than doing that, I'm just sticking with the primer that's already in it, and I'm just going to do 2 coats. That is my daughter you hear in the background. She's here laughing her butt off, and my 2-year-old, who this bed is for, is taking his nap. Again, that's when I have time to do this. All right, here we go. It's actually applying very nicely, so I'm doing the opposite. I'm doing a nice thick coat, which is actually drying pretty quick, and then I'm going to do just a light coat over it. I'm going to do the top parts like this, but the parts that are just going to be underneath and under plywood or that you're just not going to see, I'm not bothering to paint those. Some may argue that that's not professional, but I'm not a professional, and I'm not getting paid for this. But it is something I like to do, and I'm going to get it done. I just finished up the first coat. Since it's actually drying pretty quick, I'm going to go ahead and start the second coat and finish that. That way, hopefully tomorrow, I can actually install it or mount it to the wall in my kid's room. All right, second and last coat. Very happy with the way it came out. This will be mounted to the wall. These little skinny legs will be gone. Let's see, going around to the other side. I did spend about a good, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe going around and getting all the little drips from where the screws are and from where the little random holes are, nail holes are. Because again, this is from pallet wood. All right there, right there. All right. He's very happy with the way this came out. I'm not too worried about that part. But yeah, very happy with it. Oh, I might go back and brighten that up a little bit. I guess I missed that spot on the second coat. Looks like I missed this whole rail right here. Here is my son's bed for now. Basically, it was his crib. We took off the front whenever he figured out how to climb over. That's going to be moved as well. That's the corner that the bed is going to be going in. All right, so this is a quick look. I got it in here. I ended up not having to take the ladder off, only the support legs to get it here. What I've done here is, once again, I double checked where my studs were, used the magnet to figure out where they were. It did seem a little off. What I did was I took a very small, tiny nail, about an inch long, and I just started going through the drywall a little bit, right there. And basically, whenever I found the side of the stud, I went over about 1.5 inches because that's how thick the stud is. And I started looking for the other side of it. So I need to put my anchors or screws right in the middle of that big space. Specifically on this third stud here, the other side of this wall is my garage. And I have an outlet right here, however many feet, 4 feet, whatever, above the floor. And it's on the inside. It is mounted higher, and my electrical comes from up in the attic, so I'm not too worried about it. However, better safe than sorry. All right, my little cheapy drill from Harbor Freight, Drill Master, $15, I think, maybe even like 12 with a coupon. Actually worked out a lot faster than I thought. You see, I got my holes there, Light's still on, so I'm guessing I didn't hit any kind of electrical. I didn't hear any pops. Whenever I did this one, again, where the electrical is, again, I know it's on the left, so I drilled a hole maybe a 1/16 of an inch over to the right. Again, just to stay a little further from that left edge. I even angled it probably like, I don't know, like 0.5 degrees just to the right. Again, just to make sure I'm staying away from that edge. But it's still fairly close to the middle of the stud. So I do want to note that I put one in. I drilled the hole and I put one screw in just to completely hold this in place. And then I drilled all the rest of my holes. Here we go, final stretch. See if I can mount the phone there, stand it up for you. All right, here we go. All right, and last thing I'm going to do, I have some plywood. I'm going to cut down to size, and I'll just use obviously the rafters to screw down that plywood. Oh, nice. I ended up making a change. I originally had the ladder stop right there on this side. My son was climbing up last night, and since he didn't have anything to hold on to grip, he really kind of grabbed his sheet or one of the sheets or his blanket or something, and to try to pull himself up, and he almost fell back. So what I did was I took off the shorter piece that was only 33 inches tall, brought it, added one that's all the way up to the top, that's total 47 inches, and I added a rail right here to match the other side. And now he doesn't have any trouble getting up or down. He just feels a lot safer. Here are some pictures of the final product. And one of the pictures you can actually see his Jeep underneath. That's not the way that I had intended storing his Jeep underneath. I actually had it planned on having it turned so that way the Jeep is completely underneath. I just kind of like the way this looks in the picture. And the other picture actually shows the rail that I added on later, but actually painted. And anyway, I'm really glad with the way this bed turned out. He's actually really excited. Literally the first day I put it in there, he was eating in it, playing in it, taking all his toys up there, watching TV from there. He loves it, and that's definitely something that makes me happy as a father. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Even if you just want to comment and tell me what I should have done differently, I always appreciate that too. Thanks, guys.